All right. I have it. Hit to sign in. Man, tough crowd. All righty. Get back over here. Oh, look, now it switched it for me. All right, we good? All right. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Ed is, of course, away today, and they're on their anniversary trip down at the beach. Anniversary birthday trip. Happy birthday, Ed. You shouldn't be watching. You should be at the beach. But Ed celebrated his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to him. So this is our second monthly meeting, so I appreciate you guys showing up with Ed and Janie gone. It's always interesting to see who's going to show up when the cat's away and the mice are playing, so, but that's the way it goes. So anyway, welcome. We do have some great stuff for you this morning, and we have a guest speaker coming in, and then hopefully have some stuff that will help you guys get some new listings and some hacks that I think might help a little bit. I know it helped me last year about this time. So we'll jump in. We have our featured lender, Tracy Finnegan. So Tracy, come on up.
Yes,
and we will unmute you and let you go. It won't go. Push the button. There it goes. Oh, you gotta stick your finger way down in there.
Okay, hello. All right. So thank you for letting me come mid-month. I actually entered 4 jars of honey in the fair, the state fair, and I won 5th in one place and 2nd in another. So that was kind of fun, yeah. So anyways, my name is Tracy Finnegan with First Community Mortgage. I do stress-free mortgages. Yes, it is true. It is possible. And I've got just a couple tips for you. Please use a local lender. You've got 3 awesome lenders at your disposal who have been in the business a long time. And one of the reasons is if you get multiple contracts in and you look and you recognize a name, who are you going to go with on that pre-approval letter? In the past 30 days, 60 days, I've had at least 4 that have used me, the buyer, in multiple offer situations, and that the buyer or the listing agent or their has advised the client and said, hey, I know Tracy, and they've accepted that deal. So you've got some experience here. Please, that's a good reason to use a local lender, and because that more than likely that agent is going to know the 3 of us. Also, it gives you more control over the deal. That's your job, is to really have control over every aspect as much as you can of the deal. So if you know that you've got a good level of communication, I just heard a story right here about a bad level of communication with a lender who was not known by the agent. So the more control that you can have over a deal, it is going to make it less stress-free. Also, appraisal tips, and I used to give this tip for refis, and now I'm giving it for purchases, that if you have a listing, go ahead, and if there's been any improvements to the home in the past 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years, have your seller on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper just write those improvements, whatever it is to the home. And even if it's none, write none, whatever the case is, and leave it on the kitchen table. The appraiser does not want to have a conversation with anyone. Leave that. I have had appraisers actually include that in the appraisal, and if there's a reason, especially if you think it's going to be tight and it's warranted, there's a lot of improvements to this home, you want to get top dollar for your seller, right? We'll give the appraiser the ammunition that he needs or she needs to give that extra, couple thousand, whatever the case is. So really I had a deal that came in $15,000 below, and I didn't know that all the other comps in the neighborhood, it was a townhome, had been renovated, and this one had. And so it really warranted. And it was a low price point, $182.9. It came in at $166. It's in Gallatin, these really cute townhomes, but they had renovated it. And so we ended up settling at $175. The buyer paid that because it was worth it to her as a single mom for those improvements to be done. And now that really is giving them one more comp to maybe get into that $180. So that's just an example of how the more information that you can give about your listing will help everyone, the buyer and the seller. If it warrants it, that buyer wants to pay that price. So just kind of a tip that I used to use for refis, and I thought I'd pass along to you for your listings. I know you're taking a lot of listings. So again, Tracy Finnegan, I'd love to help you with your stress-free mortgage needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Are those honeys for the presenter?
Yes, for door prizes.
Dang. All right, how are we doing those later? We're going to draw numbers later?
At the end, yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. We might need to have a honey off. I mean, that might be part of the chili cook-off. Whose honey's better kind of thing. So, yeah, mentioning the chili cook-off, we need people to sign up. Right, Kelly?
We do.
We do.
only have 3 chilies right now, so we need several more.
Wow, so I might place then, is what you're saying.
Nice,
Okay.
yeah.
So Mike Walls and I are beating it out for number 1. So, if you guys want to come in.
Cooking chili.
Anna's not going to win, though. She's not here. So, yes, October 3rd, I'll just kind of throw that in there if you're not on our website or Facebook page. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can also enter desserts and take on Ed and knock Ed out of his first place. So please come and do that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So our next Getting to Know Me, one I've been waiting for, is Miss Lindsay Smith this morning. All right.
The quickest getting to know me.
No. I'll add things.
Okay, my name is Lindsay Smith. I've had my license about 2.5 years. I've always been with Exit. I started at this office. Don't plan to go anywhere. I approached a friend at church and I said, hey, I'm getting my real estate license. I knew she was with Exit, and actually she's in White House, which would have been a much more convenient location for me since that's where I live. But I came over here and I met Ed, and I decided this was the place to be for me. So, and I'm so thankful. So I'm from West Tennessee. Me and my husband are from Henry County, Paris, Tennessee. Our family is still there. We've been married for 20 years. This December, we had a real quick engagement and wedding when we met. Nathan is full-time military now. He is a major with the Air Force. He works at Berry Field over by the airport. He's been full-time for over 5 years now, in the military over 20. He is a structural engineer for them, and so we have 3 kids. One's fixing to be 16, Natalie, Maddie, and John Patrick, and they go to CCS in White House, which is also where we go to church, which is why I work, because I have 3 kids in private school. So when we talk about our why, that is my why. That is why I work. There was no way for us to financially be able to send them if I didn't go back to work. So I did graduate from UTM with a degree in business management. Then Nathan decided to go back for his master's, so I was working 2 jobs while he was getting his master's in structural engineering at Tennessee Tech. I was a special events coordinator for them, and then the Iraq War happened, and so Nathan was sent to Iraq, and I found out I was a few weeks pregnant the day he left. And so first child, that was one of the hardest years, because I was in Cookeville by myself, pregnant, and he was overseas. And so that year when he was gone, the first Tennessee National Guard soldier was killed, which was in my husband's unit. So they called me that night and said, just want to let you know there's been a soldier killed in your husband's unit. We can't tell you who it is, but it's not your husband. And I was like, okay. I was still very young at the time. So he came home. We had a new baby. then Maddie came along, and then John Patrick, and so I stayed home, worked some part-time jobs. I delivered mail for the Postal Service, and I decided if Nathan really pushed me to get my real estate license, and I was like, he's like, you should do that. I think you would be good at it. So he's the whole reason I went and got my license, and so I've really enjoyed it. Let's see. My first listing, just a neat little story. My daughter prayed in her Sunday school class at church, please help my mom to get her first listing. And the Sunday school teacher called me that next week and said, we're moving out of state. I didn't know who I was going to list my house, but Maddie prayed that for you to get your first listing, so I want you to come list my house. And and she knew I was brand new, and she said, I want to be your first customer. So that was my very first listing, and super sweet people. I think about them all the time. So my first 2 years, I did a lot of for sale by owners. I really haven't had trouble approaching them. I think I've had pretty good success with it. I took the Buffini class, and Ed said one time, if you list, you last. If you don't, you won't. And so that has always stuck in my head. So I try to go after those listings. I do a ton of open houses. I've done so many this year that I'm about sick of doing open houses. But I think it's been very beneficial for my business. And on a side note, Nathan, as I said, his family owns a engineering and surveying company in West Tennessee. They also have an office in Nashville that my brother-in-law now owns. If you ever need a structural engineer for an FHA appraisal, my father-in-law does these all the time. So he even comes up to the Nashville area to do them. I have my husband crawl under houses all the time because he's a structural engineer. He does not like it, but if you do get in a pinch, you can call me. So he's tried to get out of doing side work, but he will do it for you. So I think that's it. Does that sound good, Randy?
That sounds great.
Okay. What's that?
You beat Randy in the full
I did.
You forgot one thing. Good job, Lindsay.
So I'm assuming you got Maddie a laminated prayer list, right?
Yeah, if that won't make you send your kids to church, what? I mean,
Exactly. So, sweetie, you know what
Yeah.
you're praying for this week.
yeah. I don't care if you don't want to go to church. You're going. Daddy needs to sell a house.
She wanted me to redo her bedroom for her, paint it, redo it, and I said, when I have my first
So now,
I will redo your bedroom for you.
Aw.
So she was praying for my business, so she got her bedroom redone after I had my work.
it's all about the why.
It's all about the why. You're right. That's awesome. Well, I've known Lindsay a long time, and I didn't know a lot of that stuff. So good to know. So I did know she was number one in those stuff. Anyway, all right. So we had a Cannonball Run class a while back, actually last Friday, and I was stuck cleaning underneath a house to close a deal. So I've asked Lindsay and Angie to share a little bit from that class. So Angie, you want to go since Lindsay just went?
Thank you.
Knows everything.
I got my notes since someone texted me at 9:45
Yeah,
last
well,
night.
you know.
Good morning. So sponsoring was not even in my brain. As most of you know, I'm new to Tennessee and I'm new to have a license. So sponsoring did not even enter it. I felt like I was just trying to survive, trying to figure out how to get clients when I didn't know anyone in Tennessee. And then once I got the clients, how to get them to the closing table. So I didn't feel like I wanted to add anything else to my schedule. So I didn't sign up, but a day before the class, I thought, oh heck, okay, let's just go. It's in Nashville. It's free. Just go and listen and see if it makes sense to you. And it did make sense. The main reason being that every day we speak to agents, we build relationships with agents, and they're doing the exact same thing that we're doing. They're listing and selling. They just have a different business model. So why not tell them about our business model and then let them see if they want to ask more questions or if it works for them. So all of that made sense, and I wrote down a few things I want to share with you. And the first thing is numbers, because we all like numbers. But year one, if you sponsored 3 people and they had 5 closings each, you'd get about $500 per person. So that would be an extra $7,500 to your pocket. Year 2, you had 4 more people, still at 5 closings each. That's $17,500 extra just for that year. But for the 2 years combined, $25,000. Year 3, you have 10 members. You've moved them up to 8 closings each. Their price point's a little higher, so you're getting $600 per closing. That's $48,000. So in 3 years, you've added $73,000 extra dollars to your bank account. And you weren't hustling, you weren't showing houses all weekend for this, you were just telling people about Exit and supporting them in their journey. So a big question that day was Keller Williams. How are we different than Keller Williams? And Tammy Bunnell has a video on the Exit site that explains it in detail. But pretty much the bottom line is Keller Williams has profit sharing. So there has to be a profit after all the bills are paid and everyone's paid for you to get any money. Exit's more like an insurance policy. You sign up once and every time it renews, you get paid. So you tell that agent one time and every time they go to the closing table, you get paid. So it's a great way to make a third source of income besides listing and selling, plus you get to bring great agents and make our company even better. So we all have an elevator speech on what we do, but they said you should have an elevator speech on what is Exit. So if you're wearing your name tag or a t-shirt and someone says, what is Exit? You should have that and include the 5 pillars. So someone did say one that, that I liked, because you have to find one that works for you. And it was, we create real estate rock stars through 5 ways: training, branding, technology, culture, and financial security with a retirement plan. So have that elevator speech ready. So when someone does ask you, will there be objections when you talk to an agent? Yes, there'll be objections. And your job is to tell them how we're different, affirm their objections, but then really your goal is to get them a meeting with Ed and let him handle all the objections. So don't stress over handling every objection. And I did bring some objections that they say are the most common. So if you guys want to take a picture of them, I can pass them around and it has an idea of what to say. But some simple approaches on how to approach another agent that I jotted down that I kind of thought were nice is pop by an open house, take a coffee or a tea to them because they're stuck there, they can't go anywhere, so you have their ear. If someone's shown one of your listings, send them a video saying thank you. No one ever does that, so you would stand out and they would remember you. And then if someone does join you, ask them if there's anyone that would like to come with them, because they have buddies at their office that may want to come over. And something I learned is you can exitize your car and Stacy will pay you back up to $1,000. Just send her the receipt. So you can also download a calculator on your phone. You can go to the Exit site /formula and you can hand it to another agent. They can input their what they make and how many people they think they would sponsor, and it will show them what they can make in residual income. So the way I kind of looked at it and they said is it's kind of like a for sale by owner. You don't have that listing, so why not ask? You're not sponsoring that person, so why not ask?
Randy, have you heard about that $1,000 thing that she said Stacy will pay $1,000?
I know with the wraps they were, doing the $1,000, give back. So I haven't done it yet, but I haven't heard about it.
Do I have to come up there?
I'm sorry.
Do I have to come up there?
No, you can stand. Well, you can stand right there.
Okay.
You can sit right there.
Okay. Well, she did great, so I don't really have much to add because that was great. So the I was just reading over my notes, and I wrote down from that day that as agents we don't recruit, we just sponsor, and our ultimate job is just to start the conversation with other agents and get them in the office to meet with Ed. And then we have nothing to lose by telling people about our office. Just like working with a for sale by owner. What do we have to lose? And that we need to make sponsoring a priority. So, and I had another agent contact me, a friend of mine, and she's coming over to our office, and she contacted me because she was unhappy with her office, and she was like, "Hey, do you like your office?" I was like, "I love it." So she met with Ed, and she's planning on coming over here hopefully in the next few days. So, I mean, I should have approached her a long time ago, but she came to me. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you can pick them up anywhere. They're kind of like hitchhikers. You just kind of got to look for them. You know, I've got 3 right now that are coming on. One was an actual client from out of state that's moving here. And then the other one was a retail manager, which are always good because they're already working 60, 70 hours a week and not making much money. But because of my shirt and him talking to me and seeing me over and over again, you know, he approached me about it. So it's just one of those things. Then the third is just a friend of a friend who, you know, saw my Facebook stuff and sent her to me because that's what she wants to do. So all 3 of them are in the same class this week. It's kind of funny. So we got 3 recruits in class this week. But I mean, it's just a matter of starting that conversation. You know, going after other agents, especially if you have something go wrong with the deal or go bad with the deal. A lot of the time it's not their fault, or maybe they just need some help doing some things. Those are always good as well. So just kind of keep your eyes open. Think about that. It is great extra money, you know, to go on vacation or to put towards something that you guys want, or just to put back into your business. That's always a benefit. So thank you for sharing that. And like I said, I hated that I missed it, but that's life. All right, so we have our next. Anybody have questions about the sponsorship class or anything else to those 2 ladies? How many of you actually went last week for that? So good. That's good. That's like half the class. Wow, half the meeting, and the other 3 are you know, lenders. So been in a networking event. All right, so we have Mr. Andre up. Andre's going to come a little bit and share, and we're going to switch over computers here. So Andre, come on up, and we'll hook you up. He's with B&B Top Management. So tell you what, I'll put mine over here, and we'll switch over here, bud. Where's your HDMI? It's on the back. Oh, it's an Apple. You're on an Apple.
I'm on an Apple, so my.
Do you have the adapter?
I don't think I do.
Adapter?
Maybe I can sign into my email on your laptop.
Yes, you might have to do that. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys, we did not. I've got one. I just don't have it down here. Let's do that. Let's just sign in. The joys. Log out here. All right. There you go. If you want to sign in there, don't look at his password, please. Tell something about you, I guess. You look at his email, though, because you might want to email him. Don't look now. Everybody look. Close your eyes. Well, we don't want you to go in and put ... in there. Yeah. Don't anybody tell Ed we have problems with anything. You understand me? So who said that? You people. I never. Yeah, just stick it on there. There you go. And you can put that in your pocket if you want to.
Okay.
All right, buddy, you're live.
Good morning, everybody. Can anyone hear me? Yeah, great. My name is Andre Hippex. Just one little fact I'd like to start out with. In 2014, I was still in New York City attending university, and I went and got my real estate license. I thought I was going to be a great agent. I lasted for about a year. And I thought I'd never do real estate again. Just a funny thing that 5 years after, I'll be standing here doing a presentation to you guys, to real estate professionals. So B&B Top Management. So I started B&B Top Management last year. 2016, I wanted to do my own Airbnb, wanted to buy a property, ended up traveling the world with a guitar. From that on, I got back to Nashville, and I decided that I want to do this industry still. And what I'll do is I'll just offer a service that I learned that I was going to do for myself. So B&B Top Management essentially is a full service management that is being provided for property owners, most likely investors. We have two different types of hosts or property owners in Nashville. Some of them are owner-occupied Airbnbs, and those are property owners that want to subsidize their income. They want to potentially add a little bit extra income to pay for their mortgages, and they want to host themselves. As you probably guys know, Airbnb, it's kind of a hot thing right now. What we work with most of the time are the people who don't want to do anything, and they just want to bring in extra money. Or that's what their business is. And so we will handle everything from A to Z. We'll handle the headache, the management aspect, the guest communication, and everything that takes to do that. So yes, full service management. Our model of work is being liked by real estate agents from Keller Williams. We've worked. I heard earlier you guys mentioned Keller Williams team. They're a big one. We worked with Realty in Nashville, that's really known in East Nashville, The Village. Currently in Grant Hammond is one of the big guys that's kind of in the short-term rental industry, and we're partnering up with them to have, I think, 17 units where our management model is going to be sold as part of the units for the investors. So when they buy a product, when they buy a unit, the management of ours is included in the package, and I'll tell you how we can sort of help you and how we're helping them. So yeah, essentially we help property owners to seamlessly earn revenue as non-owner occupied short-term rental owners without any headache or involvement in the process. These are the services that we offer, and I'm going to go through each one of them right now, just briefly, because we have only about up to 10 minutes. So initial setup of the property, we start out with onboarding. We go ahead through the property, we inspect it, we make sure there is no problems for the short-term rental to start and begin. We make sure that the interior design is really nice. I see there's nice walls here, kind of match my t-shirt. My t-shirt matches them. That was not intended at all. We have interior designer that will do all that, depending, of course, on the budget and the price of the property owners or future investors. Will choose who will fit them best. Some of them go for really high prices, some go for lower. After it's been inspected and we got the interior design chosen properly, we'll do the permitting process. We'll go to Department of Zoning and deal with them. That can go very easily. Our newest client did it in 3 days, and that's just unheard of. The first day, they actually submitted the permit. The second day, the fire marshal came out and did the inspection. The third day, they got a permit. Sometimes it can last for a month.
What county was that in? What county was that?
That is in Metro, so downtown Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah, in Davidson. After that, we'll go ahead and do the booking management. The booking management essentially is one of the biggest pieces. That's kind of what everybody wants to stay away from, because that's essentially the ongoing process with guests. That's what really essentially we do. That's our main thing. So we'll set up the channels. The channels are Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, TripAdvisor, and we got a new one now coming up. There's a Fairbnb that's going to be coming up soon in the city. It's coming from Europe, and actually it's a workaround the Airbnb and taking sort of the best of what Airbnb offers, but at the same time giving more value to property owners and to the guests. So the income, essentially the revenue, part of revenue is going to be going to the local communities, local organizations. That way they want to sort of mitigate that friction that we're having with Airbnbs as business hotels coming into neighborhoods. That's been a very big thing. I've been part of many planning commission and council meetings, and that's right there. So we create listings, we do the PMS, we essentially integrate the calendars and all of the different listings from different platforms. We add extra apps that will help us to manage easier and bring in more income. And then, of course, we do the updating of the listings once in a while. Guest service, communication, house rules, service offerings, emergency contact, guest book. Essentially, it all means is that we're there 24/7 for guests to come in, as well as property owners if there are any questions. Smart pricing, we essentially use, we outsource a software that allows us to look at the market, at the live market at any point of the day, and essentially adjust our prices without us having to go log in, change the price. It does automatically for us. Now, of course, sometimes we want to do manual pricing because we have CMA coming in, and the CMA makes no sense. So for CMA, we might just triple, quadruple the prices, and the software will never recognize that because it's just so far in advance, and people book these events maybe up to a year before it actually happens. Housekeeping. Housekeeping we do ourselves until we have system in place. Once we have system in place, we know exactly what we want, how it stands, what brand it is, where to buy it. We then transfer it upon another company that will do the maintenance, the everyday cleaning, because essentially our main thing is to raise the revenue for our clients, for them to be happy. And of course, if we got a client through a real estate professional, then for a real estate professional to know that the referral was worthy. Maintenance, we'll do things ourselves like changing the light bulbs, but if it comes to something serious, of course we'll hire professionals. That's just a standard process of that. Tax filing, that's a very important one. Nashville is one of those cities that implement a lot of taxes. We got sales tax, hotel of occupancy tax, that's 6% and $2.50 per night. Sales tax is being taken by Airbnb automatically. We don't touch it. Nobody does anything with that. Hotel occupancy tax, something that we will do on behalf of our property owners. Just saves them a little bit of extra headache. And earnings report, of course, that's what everybody loves. Every month they get a full breakdown of how much money they made, expenses were spent, how many bookings were made, how many cancellations were made, how much money they're going to receive, and if they need to come back to us and have a serious conversation or just go ahead and enjoy their finances that came from that. So how we help? So essentially, we help you close on your investor clients who purchase real estate in Nashville. And the way we really do that, the first sort of main step is doing the revenue projections. So our revenue projections is essentially client coming to you and saying, hey, I want to buy this property for maybe Airbnb, short-term rentals, but I'm not sure what would it be. So far I found out that real estate professionals don't want to take this extra liability of saying, well, yeah, I'll figure it out how much it is for you. What they'll do actually, they'll go to somebody, let's say like me or B&B Top Management, and they'll say, can you run the projections for us because you have data to do that. And so that's what we'll do. We'll run projections. We'll give them nightly rates. We'll give them occupancy rates. We'll give them how much a month, how much per year, expenses, first year, startup expenses, and then every year expenses, how much are going to be taken out from that. So essentially, roughly, they'll know if it's even worth it, if it's even worth it to get into that. The workflow is simple. We provide your clients with real estate market expertise. We project revenue of any property soon to be Airbnb. You close, and then we, of course, do the management aspect of that. I believe that's probably almost 10 minutes. The contact that you can contact me or the company through is 615-730-2119, and then the email is info@bnbtopmanagement.com. I don't have any business cards. I'd like to keep things a little bit more personal, so if there are any questions, I'd love to speak directly. Or you can just, of course, take a screenshot and contact us. We stay up to date on things.
Can we ask questions?
Please.
No.
Yeah,
go ahead.
A couple things. First of all, how are you paid? Is it like subscription based, a monthly fee?
It's a monthly fee. So for the property owners, we start out with 20% management model. We do get into negotiations at times, depending on the size of a property, and it depends on the quality of a property. So if it just doesn't make sense for us to get into the management aspect, less than 20%, we'll be upfront and we'll let the client know. If it makes sense, we'll do calculations. We'll let them know we can, let's say, afford 18% or 15%. If they can have, let's say, multiple properties, and that happens sometimes. Someone comes in and just says, I want to buy 5 properties. Cool, we can definitely do negotiation with management fee there because all of them are so close to each other. We can really cut out a lot of expense of driving, going places, to restock it, to clean it, to maintain it, things like that.
Quantity discount.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. The other thing I have is, are all your
They are bundled and they can be a la carte, but again, to do an a la carte, we want to have a clear understanding of what you have going on and what you need us for. The easiest way, personally, I found out the management aspect is when somebody hands us off their property, because we have a system in place that we just implement and we can replicate that. If you want to be part of the process, and if you want us to do a la carte, most likely you will have to be part of the process. We'll have to find a sort of streamlined communication, a way to do that where, you know, we're not spending more time than necessary on the things that could have been just easily done if we handled it. But yes, it is part of the process.
Okay, and lastly, where are you getting your data for occupancy and?
So we did, sorry. We,
And expenses, what's your source?
So two sources. We use a team of people that essentially is qualified to do this. It does for the whole country. It's called AirDNA. That team of people, basically, that's what they do. We found out that Airbnb made a kind of a mistake by trying to offer smart pricing on their platform, because they do so much. Their smart pricing is not up to par, you know, to the standards. So these guys came in and they said, that's all we do. We do the analysis of the data of markets for all the country, but you can't buy for all the country. You can only buy per city or per zip code, depending how much you pay. So they're very, very specific to the location where you get it. So that's one thing. And then of course also our data based on what properties we manage already, what revenues we have, and sort of from the past. If we have something comparable, we'll take our property and we'll put it in comparison to what the AirDNA says, and we'll say, okay, I think we can find something in between of this that makes sense for this possible projection. Those are great questions. Thank you.
I have a question about, you were saying that the rates on a property, once it's under your management, will fluctuate in essence. If somebody books a property, is that price, if they book to that, is that locked in, or will it fluctuate as the prices for that area fluctuates?
So the prices, as long as they booked it, it's locked in for them. But let's say if they booked it and they backed out and they want to go back to it, it might change, yeah. And they might not change how, like, I just flew from New Orleans to Orlando to go pick up my wife and our newborn son, and I was so happy. I found a flight for like $36. I was just unimaginable. Well, in 3 hours when I was ready to book it, it doubled the price. Still reasonable, but then I thought, well, they must be watching me. So I changed my IP address. I activated a VPN, which basically masks your IP, and just to see, what if I'll give a better price? Now, I think they're smarter than that now. They're able to still track you. So they saw my price and my computer login, and I said, no, you still have the same price. That's not how we work about it, but it's just the prices may change because we get closer to the date. The prices will most likely hike up. Sometimes some people or property owners will do the opposite. They'll lower the price, and there is a problem with that. If you lower a price a lot and it's getting closer to that deadline, you get a little bit anxious because you want to fill that spot. You might get a bad apple. You might get a guest that just shouldn't be there. And that's another thing that we kind of do. We do the internally and externally utilize another sort of software that does that. It runs over 200 different points of information for any specific person that's coming in, and we'll get a somewhat an understanding of should we book them or should we not book them, because you know there's a process. If something happens, Airbnb will step on your side if you have enough of proof, but sometimes they may not, because you can't prove that you just, you know, a guest smoked and in the house it smells like cigarettes and there are buds, let's say, next to the sink. Obviously, it kind of makes sense. There are buds next to the sink. They smoked here. It smells bad. Will you reimburse us, or at least can we get the deposit that in the beginning they put in? Can we take that? No, you can't prove that it smells, and the buds could have been put afterwards. So to kind of, you know, take those situations and not even enter them, I would say one of the ways is to implement the pre-screening of the guests. Hope I answered your question, because I think thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
You can log out, so I'm check
Yes,
your
please.
email.
I would love to log out. All right. Thank you.
We're good? All right,
Yes.
give me my
Oh,
name back here.
I kind of like
So they
this.
can hear me.
Up,
Thanks, sir.
mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. All right. So we'll tell you, and we've all kind of talked about it, that the market is changing. You know, things are staying on the market longer. I was at a meeting this week in Nashville, and working with investors is going to be a primary as this market changes. So if you're not working with investors, you want to try to get in on some and get your name out there, because as this market slows, your investors will be buying up during that slowdown. So if you're not part of a networking group that is working with real estate investors, I would start doing that as soon as possible so you're not too late to the game. So, all right, let's get back into PowerPoint. So as the market slows down, as we're talking about, this is a video clip that we had last year about this time as we kind of went into the winter is coming, right, Craig? Can I borrow your winter is coming thing? Winter is coming, you know, store up your nuts. But this is one of those that back, I don't know how many of you were here then, because a lot of you are newer that are in here, but we had groups. We had group 1, group 2, and group 3. And this actual video came up last year from Tom Ferry on getting listings and 4 hacks to go out and get listings. So our group, Kathy LaCroix, at the time Justin, Aaron, myself, we kind of held each other accountable to go out and do this for the week. And we brought our numbers back and kind of ran it. From the group itself, of the 4 of us, we got 6 listings within about a week of doing what he's going to share with you right here. And they were all high-end listings. We weren't going after small listings. We were going after high-end listings. So this week, as I kind of met with some of my team members and kind of filled in for Ed as he was gone, this seems to be one of those that is coming. As winter is coming, how are you going to get those listings? Just like Lindsay shared, those who list will last. So this is just a quick 4-minute short video, but it is very crucial at this time. So a lot of notes. We'll put the link in, but I want you guys to listen to what Tom Ferry said.
Hey, today I've got 4 no-brainer hacks to generate you listings. Hey, it's Tom Ferry. If you had to get a listing in the next week, what actions would you take? Well, that's what I want to cover today on the show. I reached out to a couple of my top coaches, Jason Pantana, who runs our Marketing Edge event, and I asked a bunch of these guys and gals, what are your best hacks? Like, what are the little things that you're doing right now that you almost don't want anyone else to know? I'm going to give you that today. You ready? Get your pen out, get ready to write. Listen to this one 3 or 4 times. It's going to be good. The first thing they said, for the absolute no-brainer, as in no brain required, you with me on this? No brain required, is you leverage one of your buyers who absolutely is committed to buy, wants to buy, qualified, ready to go, approved, all cash, and they've written an offer or 2 and it didn't get accepted. That kind of buyer. What you're going to do is you're going to identify, step 1, the neighborhood they most want to buy in. The 60, 70, 80, 200 home subdivision, building, whatever it may be, that they want to live in. Number 2, you're going to hand address and hand stamp every one of the pieces. Now here's the catch. No company logo, no company logo, no company logo. Hand addressed, hand stamped, and if you want to kill it, put a birthday cake stamp. Put a wedding cake stamp on it. Have it on a small envelope, have it be cream colored, and guess what? That baby's gonna get opened, and that's 90% of the game. Just getting your message to the right target audience. So we select the list. These are the homes I wanna mail it to. We're gonna deliver it in a hand addressed, hand stamped, right? Hand addressed, hand stamped letter inside. When they open it up thinking, oh my goodness, what wedding am I being invited to, or who's having a birthday? They get a letter that says, dear neighbor, I'm representing a client who's interested in buying your home. Now, the more specifics you give them, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath with the more specific, the better. Just be mindful if you're sending to a subdivision of multiple types of properties, so you know the game. You write in, they're all cash, or they're approved by Bank X, and they recently lost out on a home that they really wanted to buy. We've identified your property as the ideal home for them. Now, here's the hook. You ready? Would you consider a one-day listing? Whoa, what do you, would you consider a one-day listing? Now, can I remind you that we live in the on-demand environment, right? You go to Netflix, you want to watch it right now, right? You go to Amazon, you want it right now. There is a percentage of customers out there that don't want the sign in the yard, but they've had thoughts of selling. This is a way to hook that person in and to get in the door and have a conversation. So again, right? I'm representing a client. They're a buyer, pre-qualified, ready to go by Bank X or Y. They're all cash. You give them some details. They desperately want to live in your neighborhood. Name the neighborhood. Specifics. They want to live in Irvine Terrace on the Ocean View side. Like, be specific about it. Here's my question. Would you consider a one-day listing just for my buyer to see it? Would you consider a one-day listing just for my buyer to see it? And then guess what, my friends? You sit back and you let the phone ring. Now, I got to give a little shout out. Jeff Mays, one of our coaches who sent this over, said, hey, Tom, my client Janine Bear, Coldwell Banker in Idaho, big shout out to you, sent out 60 letters, only got 5 phone calls. Sent out 60 letters, only got 5 phone calls. Hello. Got a listing and sold it. Hello. Made an $8,000 commission on a $100 marketing spend. Now, I don't know about you, but if I said, hey, give me $100 and I'll give you $8,000. You'd be like, here's $100, and I give you $8,000. You'd be like, oh, here's another $100. I give you another $8,000. You're like, here's $200. I give you $16,000. That's called 100% no brain required. You with me on this? So that's listing attraction hack number 1. Number 2, get ready. On Instagram, you're gonna do a, matter of fact, I did it on my poll already as a test. You're gonna have to go back and maybe find it. You're going to go onto your Instagram stories being the key, because we're going to use the live polling on Instagram stories, and you're going to ask this question. Are you living in your dream home now? Use the polling tab where it says yes or no, and let them hit yes or no. Are you living in your dream home now? Yes or no. People love polls. You see the action on those all the time on your Instagram story. They're like yes or no. Interesting. Then they go to the next one, and it says, have you had any thoughts of selling in 2018 or 2019? Yes or no? Now, for some of us that are paying attention to Instagram and the amount of eyeballs that are there and how important stories are today on Facebook, or excuse me, on Instagram, you know this is 100% no brain required, and probably something you'll run maybe every quarter, maybe every 4 months, because it's that good and that simple. So that's the second hack. Number 3, if you really want to get some listings with no brain required, write down the following. You ready? Jason Pantana, who runs our Marketing Edge event, by the way, selling out every single day. Shout out to Jason and all of our clients that really want to stand out by attending that Marketing Edge event. He said one of the things our clients are doing right now, they take a business card and a little yellow sticky note, and on every one of the sticky notes, they write down the following. Now pay attention, you ready? Call me about your house. So Mark, literally like their card, yellow sticky note, call me about the house, and you put it right near the door, right? Like maybe right near the doorknob, and you stick it there. Call me about your house. That's all it says. Call me about your house and your card. Now, you do this to 100 homes. When they call you, what do? Hey, thanks so much for calling. I'm actually representing a buyer right now who desperately wants to live in your neighborhood, and I just had to reach out, being aggressive for my customer to find out, have you had any thoughts of selling? Have you had any thoughts of selling? It is a no-brainer. Now, I can spend an hour going through the psychology of why that's effective, the marketing angle behind it, the hook behind it, what do they mean? Call me about your house. Like, what? Call me about your house? Okay, sure, like is something wrong, right? You may get a few of those phone calls. And when they respond and they're like, hey, you said call me about the house, you're like, hey, thank you so much. I'm representing this buyer. Some will be excited, some won't care. Some, this is just the trigger they needed because they've been thinking about selling their home, And guess what? You just got an opportunity direct from the Tom Ferry Show. But that's number 3. I got one more, a little more advanced, so consider the following. Do you know the company Sly Broadcast? S-L-Y Broadcast. What this company does is it allows you to record a voicemail and send it to people directly into their voicemail. This is not the phone rings and they hear, you know, hello, I'm a real estate agent. No, instead, it goes right to their voicemail. So you could literally send out, I want to give you the numbers, you could send out for $100 a month 2,000 voicemail messages. Now, we have lots of clients doing this. You heard one of our clients talk about this last year at the summit. We talked about it at Tom X, where she did this for the first time. I'm representing an all-cash buyer who would like to buy a home in your neighborhood. We just missed out on another opportunity down the street from you. Would you call me today at, and she gives her number, and she took that voicemail, and I think she sent it out to 2,000 people at once. And then after 172 phone calls back in the first 24 hours, she said, whoa, maybe I had to do it in smaller increments. So my advice for you is if you're going to check this one out, make sure you start small and get ready for the phone to ring. So you leave a cool voicemail. Hey, it's Tom Ferry with Banana Real Estate. I'm representing a buyer right now, and I got to tell you, they are a wonderful couple. They're desperate to live in Banana, in Banana community. And we've already actually written an offer. They got beat out by an investor. They're a nice family. They want to live in your neighborhood. I'm just asking, if you've had any thoughts of selling, could you please give me a call? Now, notice how I did that voicemail. It wasn't perfect. You with me? It was authentic. It's like, hey, I'm just reaching out. I'm representing this client and they desperately want to live in your area and they recently lost out on another home, right near you. And I know this is strange on a voicemail, but gosh, if you've had any thoughts of selling, could you call me at 555-1212? Even if it was just for a one-day listing because you were thinking about it, and if the stars and the moons aligned and the price was perfect, that you would move, just call me, 555-1212. I would actually do that voicemail. I loved how kind of authentic and real that was. And then they sent it out. 200 homes, 200 homes, 1,000 homes, cell phones, whatever you got, doesn't make a difference. But here's the thing, you ready? How much brains does it require to leave a voicemail and have it sent to all those homes? 100% no brain required. I gave you the script. It'll be on the blog on tomferry.com. So if you're watching on YouTube, go back to tomferry.com and that entire script will be in the blog looking at my extraordinary writer, Mark. All right. So that's what I got. That's what I wanted to share with you. My hope is always the same, that you take massive action, that you absolutely implement at least one thing from this show to generate more listings, to solve the crisis in your market, and ultimately help another buyer buy their dream home. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, always your strategy matters, and now more than ever, your passion absolutely rules. Take care. Hey, it's Coach Tom Ferry.
All right. How many of you have listened to Tom Ferry at all? Right? I mean, pretty much every day. He has episodes every week, but there is so much good stuff there within that 4 minutes. And if you can just go and do one of those things. We did the writing, the handwriting, and did the notes. I think we did 50 each. But like I said, out of all of that, I want to say the average was about 400. So you got 5 listings of about $2 million within about 30 days. So if you're looking for listings, if you need something like that right now as we go into this winter, just try some of those out. Sly Broadcast is awesome. I don't know if you guys use it or not. I know I've shown you Sly Dial before, where you can just bypass their voicemail if you're not one of those that likes to give bad news or just needs to give something real quick to one of your buyers or sellers that talks forever. It's a great way to do it. It's a personal phone call. It skips them, goes straight to their voicemail, and Sly Broadcast is awesome. I will tell you, the updated, we were looking at this the other day, so he was talking about how much they spend on that. The 100 messages right now, $10. $10. So you start taking some of the stuff that we've already shown you, how to get those, how to get the phone numbers and the voicemails from those people and put them into your phone or your database, $10. It'll take you about 15 minutes. So check it out. Do it, yes?
They call the numbers I provide, or they have...
You input the numbers,
Okay.
right? So you would input the numbers in there if you have a spreadsheet or if you have them in your phone, I would use that. So I use Sly Broadcast for a lot of my sync leads that haven't logged in 90 days. I can mass text them and I can mass email them, but that phone call just helps, and even if it is a voicemail. So, take a chance at that. It's very cheap, and then if your monthly delivery plan, it's only $8 a month for 100 messages. So, and they never expire. So if you do buy them, let's say you buy 1,000 messages for $60, they never expire. So you can use them whenever you want to if you don't want to do a monthly plan. And how many times do you need that? So check it out. It's awesome. Anything else on that? Good nuggets?
Hey, so you use Fly Broadcast for your group text or your mass text that you send?
Not for mass text. I can use Sync for my mass text, but for voicemails to make it a little more personal. And that's just, hey, I haven't heard from you in 90 days. This is Randy. You had logged onto my website, haven't heard from you in 90 days. Just wanted to follow up and see how you are. And believe it or not, and I've shown you guys, those of you in the Sync class, the mass texts are awesome because it's just like, hey, if you're still interested, say whoop whoop, reply whoop whoop. And I'll send out 100 of those and I'll get about 6 of them back. Well, now those become my priority, right? They get a phone call. The other 94, I just move on. They've already bought a house or whatever. But it takes me that long.
So you did the letter with the one-day listing? I have a buyer?
Yeah, we just did the letter saying, hey, I have a buyer. Again, guys, if you don't, that's fine. If you need somebody to go with you to show the house, I'll go. You go show me the house. I'm not going to be interested. Guess what? You're in the door, right? That's our double dates. I'm like, hey, guys, you guys want to go to dinner? Okay, we got to stop by a house real quick, though, okay? You're my buyers. Okay, I'll buy dinner, And we go that night, we look at the house, and then we go out to dinner. No, they're not going to buy, but you got to show up because they got cameras and they're going to be gone and they want to know that you were there, but you're just getting in the door. This is just a hook, okay? I have a buyer, he's interested. I'm the buyer, she's the buyer. Partner up with somebody, accountability. It's a little shady, but it works. We're not hurting anybody's feelings, but it will, and it's very much, there's all kinds, and he talks about it at Summit, but he talks about that, what does he say? The people on the home improvement side, you're getting 16 months. So if they're doing home improvement stuff and they're clicking on your home improvement post, they're about 16 to 18 months prior to actually listing their house. These are the people that you're getting to say, hey, have you ever? That Instagram, huge. Especially if you have any kind of filters and you have a business account, you can see who's clicking on that. Are you interested in selling your house within 2019, 2020? Yes. You know who they are. So play that up. Use that as much as you can. Speaking of Sync, we do have a group going December 10th through 12th. December 9th is my birthday. So December 10th through the 12th, we'll be celebrating my birthday in Atlanta. If you're going to go with us, I think we have 6 right now. Of course, Ed and I are going. It's $199, and it needs to be booked as soon as possible. It will be their last one of the year, and who knows what they'll do with it. But they've changed it up a couple times. So if you want to go with us, December 10th through the 12th, get on, talk to me, talk to Tina or Candy, and we'll get you on the list. It does go over all of the Sync platform, using it from beginners all the way to advanced seller stuff. So landing pages, all that good stuff. You get a whole plethora of stuff. Plus we have a couple hours that are just for cold calling. They give you a script, we cold call. You win gift cards, for getting an appointment and that kind of thing. So a lot of fun, but going together is always a little bit more fun. Stay in the same hotel. They provide breakfast and lunch, and then we have dinner out, and Ed usually pays for one of those nights. So we can carpool, grab a van, do something, but it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we can get a $36 flight. I need to talk to you about that. I'm like, what? Orlando? The Tom Ferry group? I don't know. I haven't heard anybody going. That's usually Austin's thing, and he's gone. So, but I'll go. Let me know. All right. All right. We're gonna watch a video, and then we're gonna give away some honey, right? All right. So watch this one. This is a good one. We like to teach you something. We like to learn something about somebody here. This is your motivation, okay? And then we're going to give away something, so don't leave. Please start. There it was.
I am one of 7 billion people on this planet. Yet I see myself as different. I have failed, I have fought, I have struggled, but my experiences have never inhibited nor defined who I am. They were the building blocks that moved me forward. Every day I come face to face with opportunities to compromise, to settle, to take what can be easily reached. But each time I continue forward, on to something better. There has been no path in the sand, no hand to hold, and the journey makes even the bravest souls feel small. But the belief that I have something to offer, something of value to bring to the table, it overshadows all. And the opinions of others, they neither validate nor do they disprove my objective. There is one opinion that matters, and it laid out the expectations a long time ago. I know that this is where things become difficult, when momentum must be manufactured, and I will find a way to keep stepping, to keep winning, on to the next goal regardless of how big. Though I've made progress, there is much more to overcome, much more to build, to grow, to innovate. There is always a way, there's always an answer. If the sky hasn't fallen, any issue can be overcome. Breathing is my solace, it's my comfort, because each breath assures me that I can move forward. No matter what happens, what gets thrown my way, I will never lose sight of the ultimate goal. It's what pulls me through. It's what validates my struggle, my hardship. It's why I see what others cannot. It's why I will do what others won't. No reason to quit will ever be more important than the goal at hand. And this is why I continue forward.
If you're not into mindset stuff, you better get ready because winter's coming. Gotta have the mindset. All right, so we have 2 right, so 1 for me, and we need to choose a name.
You're in charge. Pick a number between 1 and 10. 6.
No.
Kelly Arnold.
Kelly Arnold's a winner. Don't look. Unless you want to look for mine.
No, number 1. Who got here first? Lindsay Smith. There we go.
She's a winner.
I was here first. You didn't put my name down. That's not fair.
Can we get a picture real quick?
A picture. All right. Thank you guys very much. Remember Buffini Tuesday, graduation, and then convention. Don't forget to sign up for convention.
Lindsay beat Randy.
I was here first, I'm just saying.